this is a really great site, and I've got a few maps illustrating that. I've actually got some old aerial photos. If you want to pass this around, this hill right here is where we're standing.
Wow.
So you can see that it once was a much more open landscape, and we believe that this is a picture of the railroad. We think that they're putting in a railroad right down below us right now.
Right now? Really?
In this picture.
Oh, I
When
see.
was that picture taken, do you know?
This is like a early 1900s.
No.
I think that. Yeah,
Is that
I
when they
can't
were
see what
doing
the
the
date is, but I think
territorial
pass these
something or
around.
other? Building a railroad, but they abandoned it after a while?
Can you hold it for me?
Sure. I'd
That
be
was-
happy to. Wait a
I remember
minute.
that date, but it was before 1915.
Okay, switch them.
Yeah, and I work for the DNR and State Natural Areas Program, and we take care of state natural areas.
We
in
are
the
on this hill
Southern
right
Plains.
here.
We're somewhere up here, I guess.
Probably have
I
about
think.
20,000 acres
Thanks,
that
Carol.
we
You're welcome.
manage with a crew of between 3 and 5 people. And so
How many acres was that, Jared?
Volunteer.
around 20,000.
20,000 with 3 to 5 people?
Yep. So that's where you
Come on,
guys come
4,000 acres,
in.
you can handle it.
Yeah.
7,000 on a bad day.
Yeah. So you guys, well, we were thinking about how do we do this? We're feeling overwhelmed, and a couple of years ago we thought, wow, this is a great opportunity for volunteers to come out and contribute. And so luckily it's been successful. We've had a couple years now where we've continued to grow our volunteer base, and part of my job is to coordinate volunteers and get volunteers actively managing the land. And we have people like Ginny who
get a T-shirt that says
A
Volunteer
steward.
Steward.
I noticed that signature. Email. How do you become a steward?
so we're looking for people that want to maybe adopt the site, or even just contribute hours, once a month, however, whatever fits your schedule. Maybe organize work days. That kind of stuff. Yes. So here's a aerial photo of the site. We are standing on Lone Tree Bluff, which is right about here in the aerial photo. Here's the parking lot where we parked.
Okay.
And this blue is a large burn unit that we were going to do. I'll tell you a little bit about the management that we've done here.
Yeah, you've done, because I haven't been here for a while and I noticed.
Yeah.
Significant.
Yeah.
improvement.
This section of woods over here, east of the power, this is a power line corridor. So if you walk on the Ice Age Trail and you go past the power lines, this section of woods we've managed for several years now, probably 7-8 years. We've done prescribed burns, cut buckthorn, and if you go in there, it's real open. It's a great woods.
Did the hepaticas and everything improve since that time? Do you know?
I haven't been monitoring too closely,
Okay.
but I'm sure that there's a lot of shooting stars right down in this
Yeah, 'cause
area.
they don't like competition either so much. They like a
They like
little
a lot of
circle
light.
of their own. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we saw the success we had in this block of woods, and we thought we'll do that here too. And so a few years back, probably 3 winters ago, we went in here and started cutting buckthorn and treating it. And last spring we did a prescribed burn, which you can see the results behind you. A lot of this honeysuckle was alive last winter, and now it's top killed, and there's just small little resprouts that are coming back. Yeah. And here's an example just right here. This honeysuckle was a couple feet tall, and now it's this tall. course, after this growing season, since we didn't get a burn in this spring, and it looks like we probably aren't going to get one in, unfortunately, it'll probably be like this tall next year. So we have to continue to burn it to keep it down at a level where it's not this big, it's not over competing other things.
Are there other methods that you use besides burning, if possible, or?
We use cutting and treating as well. For the honeysuckle, we thought there's so much of it, and we know that fire can do a good job top killing it. We thought if we could keep burning it, maybe we could stay on top of it that way. With the buckthorn, we know that we have a harder time killing big buckthorn, so for that we decided cutting and treating was the best way, using herbicides. So what we're doing right now, I guess here's another map. With this map you can see the topography in the site. As you came up the hill, you probably got a good workout and you realize this is not flat land. It is really rolling, lots of hills and kettles, pretty typical of a southern kettle moraine. And a lot of times what you'll see is the south-facing, west-facing slopes have either hill prairies or bur oaks, scattered bur oaks. And the north-facing slopes are more moist and more mesic, and there'll be red oak mixed with white oak, more dense forest. So there's different habitats even within small areas because of the different aspects. And so we're going to be working on a west-facing slope here and a south-facing slope up there where there's aspen, and it probably would have historically been a prairie or at least an open savanna. And the aspen is a native tree, so it's common, but a lot of times what happens is it'll come in open areas and take over. It's very aggressive. So we'll see if on our prairies, if we don't burn them, a lot of times there'll be small aspen that starts coming in, and then if you burn it, you just top kill it, and it stimulates it to grow even more, and so it takes over more area, and then if there's no fire, it grows up to be large and it turns into an aspen forest instead of a prairie. So we're going to be girdling the aspen this morning. In this area there's larger trees. Up on the hill there's a lot smaller trees, and I was just testing it out here, and it seems like there's a little bit of variability as far as how tender the bark is. This tree back there that I tested, the bark is really tender and it was pretty easy to do. This one right here is a lot tougher, and it was harder to do it, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Does it matter the height of the girdling?
It doesn't. Yeah. What we're doing when we girdle it is we're taking, essentially isolating the top from the root reserve.
Right.
So the top of the tree, which gets all its energy, sugars, will bring all that stuff down to the roots in the fall. And right now in the spring, all the stuff in the root reserve that was stored there in the winters is being traveled up to the top so the tree can put out leaves. And so this cuts off that travel of energy and sugars. So the aspen clone loses all of its energy, and it doesn't realize that it's been cut. The only way that it realizes it's been cut is if the inner bark gets nicked or cut. So if you cut the whole tree, what would happen is all of these trees are actually one individual clone. And so if you cut one of them, it would say, "Ow, you cut me, I'm going to send up 4 more shoots to replace that one that you cut." And if we're able to girdle all of the trees without it realizing it, then it essentially dies without having a chance to say, "Ow, you cut me," and so I'm going to send up a bunch of shoots.
It's all that guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
It's dying before it even realizes it got hit.
It's like putting the fake goose egg back in the nest so that it thinks it's still there, or otherwise it'll lay more eggs, right?
Yeah.
Is there an optimal time of year to girdle?
Yes, in the spring,
Okay.
when the sap is flowing.
Okay.
and you can actually feel, like this tree back there, I could feel was moist because there's a water flow, and so that makes the bark a lot more tender. If you don't do it when the sap is flowing, then it's really tough. It doesn't work very well. So